Good evening and welcome, Golden Ring Middle School students and families. We hope that you enjoy our Grade 8 virtual farewell ceremony. This evening, you will listen to and receive regular awards for academic classes, courses, and other achievements, completion certificates, which you can pick up in our bus loop on Thursday between 9 and 2 if you wish to have them. If for some reason you don't get here to pick them up, we will mail them to you later this summer. Our 8th grade superlatives, which students voted for. You'll hear addresses and short speeches from many of our staff members, and of course, our final 8th grade video. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this time and your celebration.
Hello, 8th graders, parents, and families. I hope everyone is safe and well during these uncertain times. I will not dwell on the pandemic because today is your day to reflect on 3 years of hard work and dedication you gave us at Golden Ring Middle. Although these circumstances are unusual, I cannot think of any class that would be able to cope, persevere, and handle this situation like the class of 2024. I can remember back to you coming in as curious 6th graders, trying to figure out the ins and outs of middle school. As 7th graders, I introduced you to the world of Naviance, the college and career readiness program, to get you thinking about your 6-year plans. As 8th graders, you were off and running with the magnet application process and continued conversations regarding your 6-year plans. I have not seen you since early March, which breaks my heart. I definitely miss our day-to-day interactions, seeing you in the hallways, the classroom setting, cafeteria, and in my office area. I miss each one of you, and I thank you and your parents for allowing me to be a part of your precious lives. We had some great laughs, some deep conversations, and some challenging times. We learned from each other, and I will admit, you taught me more about social media, maybe more at my age than I needed to know. You even taught me that my drip was phony. But despite it all, that's what made our relationships magical and impactful. I wish you all well as you go on to demonstrate greatness at the high school level. Please keep in touch and know that I will always have a special place for you engraved in my heart. I salute the future class of 2024.
Good evening, Golden Ring Middle School class of 2020. Although we are not able to celebrate together to mark this milestone in your education, we could not let the year end without acknowledging those students who have been recognized by their teachers for outstanding achievement in the classroom. I will be presenting the names of students who have excelled in language arts, U.S. history, Spanish, art, and health. In language arts, Mr. Washington recognizes Anthony Zavala, Delia Azandakan, Jonathan Johnson, Nika Kalaw, Star Mejia, Miss Etchu recognizes London Johnson, Miss Grayson recognizes Kanaya Diggs, Kylie Downey, Taylor Hoff, Kirk Jeffries, Landon Harley, and Miss Evelyn recognizes Jabari Campbell. And Michaela Sproul. In U.S. history, Mr. Morose recognizes Michaela Spruill and Miranda McDowell. Ms. Salihi recognizes Francisco Navarro, Joel Monteroso, and Lindsay Harley. Ms. Wiseman recognizes Brianna Carter, Colin Briscoe, Miriam Sani, Nicole Hernandez, Nika K. Law. Outstanding Achievement in Spanish, Ms. Ensenat recognizes Beonli Anichu, Brianna Carter, Jamie Rivera, Muiz Ilyas, Omolola Oshobu, Outstanding Achievement in Art, Ms. Gibson recognizes Alicia Broughton, Allison Meza, Jada Matthews, Journey Robertson, Judith Delcide Vasquez, Keith Cordum, Liberty Hamilton, Nicole Hernandez. Mr. Cook recognizes Angela Kadawad, Estelle Anyangwe, Taylor Hoff. In Health, Ms. Standiford recognizes Delia Azandakan, Jaden Goff, Molly Dodson.
I will be presenting to those who have excelled in math, science, physical education, technology education, and dance. In math, Miss Lee would like to recognize Neil Navarra. Mr. Lindsay would like to recognize Colin Briscoe. Daniel Desta. Delia Azandakan. Miriam Sani. Nicole Hernandez. Zaira Tate. Ms. Hampton would like to recognize Jabria Sturdivant. Madison Brown. Ms. Grasso would like to recognize Alicia Broughton. Kanaya Diggs. Ms. Chavis would like to recognize Shalala Coleman. In science, Ms. Thompson would like to recognize Keith Cordum. Mr. Huke would like to recognize Shalay Adula. Alani Johnson. Ambassador Alabi, Daniel Desta, Mary Jane Van Blargen, Mr. Rauscher would like to recognize Brianna Carter, Deanne Patel, Jada Hicks, Star Mejia, Wara Gunzala. In physical education, Mr. Foat would like to recognize Shibumi Osoba, Jefferson Nolasco Salgado, Miriam Sani, Mr. Thomas would like to recognize Anthony Zavala, Jada Matthews, Joel Monteroso, Taylor Huff, Ms. Pagano would like to recognize Keith Cordum, Nicole Hernandez, in technology education, Ms. Hale would like to recognize Anthony Zavala, Brianna Carter, in dance, Ms. Gibson would like to recognize Alicia Broughton, Molly Dotson, students who have been recognized for outstanding achievement can pick up their certificates on Thursday, June 18th between 9 and 2 here at Golden Ring. Mr. Huber will be here at that time.
All right, welcome to the 2019-2020 presentation of names for Golden Ring Middle School. For those of you that don't know, I am Mr. Lindsay. I am the 8th grade team leader. I have been in charge of trying to nurture and help grow some of your young men and young ladies. Though our year was cut short due to a pandemic, you guys still managed to provide an entire year's worth of memories within that amount of time. So whether I had you in my classroom or whether I happened to see you in the hallway and just told you to walk while you talk, I am grateful that you were here, and I look forward to hearing from you in future years. So without further ado, I'm going to start with our names. Alicia Broughton, Abigail Coleman, Adeniyi Falana, Shayla Adelu, Adriana Moore, Alani Johnson, Alasia Dorsey, Elijah King, Allison Meza Adorno, Alyssa Dorsey, Amirkar Santos, Angel Campbell, Angel Mataduke, Angelina Rentas Velez, Angela Cadawa, Anthony Granados, Anthony McLeod, Anthony Zavala, Ariana Taylor Kropfelder, Ariel Shaw, Arnie Pugh, Autumn Betts Bogle, Ava Schaefer, Avion Hines, Avion Davis, Awanga Aparandi, Azim Washington, Bionle Antiju, Bella Stenson, Betsy Munoz, Brashay Williams, Brandon Emerine, Brandon Rojas, Brandon Wesley, Brianna Carter, Burchard Grimes, Carlos Enriquez Esquivel, Carson Ethington, Casey Jones, Chance Murdoch Thompson, Charles Humphrey, Chase Fisher, Chisholm Azike, Christopher Chu, Christopher Perkins, Colin Briscoe, Deshaun Hutchinson, Dion McCrae, DeMarco Fox Walker, Daniel Desta, Daryl Muse, Deshaun Stevenson, DeVay Rogers, David Harris, Deshaun Griffin, Daya Azadekan, Derek Boone Downing, Desiree Brooks, Destiny Watkins, Devin Benjamin, Divine Johnson, Diane Patel, Douglas Barnes, Edwin Delgado, Efrain Marquez, Elizabeth Cheedy, Elmer Rivas, Emily Alvarado Monroy, Empress Giles, Eric Gomez, Irvin Jones, Estelle Anyegwe, Faith Suarez, Fatima Crawley, Francisco Navarro, Garland Amaker, Julius Cornish, Gio Anthony Legura, Hasina Ra, Holland Moore, Shabumi Osaba, Isha Adikari, Isaiah Conway, Jabria Sturdivant, Jakira Bryant, Jada Hicks, Jada Matthews, Jaden Burrows, Jamie Rivera Aguereta, Jalen Moore, James McGill, Janiyah Randall Murdoch, Janiyah Williams Brown, Javian Johnson, Jabari Campbell, Jaden Botts, Jaden Goff, Jaden Sarawine, Jalen Lewis, Jeevan Batari, Jefferson Salgado Nalesco, Jennifer Chukwu, Jeray Gant, Jimmy Vo, Joel Montesero Anavisca, Jonathan Craig Sullivan, Jonathan Johnson, Jonathan Nguyen, Jordan Shreves, Jordan Ruffner, Josue Vitas Escobar, Jocelyn Chavaria, Joshua Black, Journey Robertson, Jawan Howard, Judah Jones, Jude Mary Azije, Judith Delcid Vasquez, Juliana Folio, Cabri Griffin Bacote, Caden Blair, Kaya Wheeler, Kanaya Diggs, Catherine Martinez Nolosco, Kathy Davilia Bernal, Kawan Jones, Caden Klingingsmith, Kayla Smoot, Candace Bolin, Kiesia Shepard, Keith Cordum, Kendall Soa, Keyshawn Randolph, Kevin Ash, Kevin Delgado, Kiari Boyd, Kylie Cozart, Khalil Britton, Chloe Batch, Kirk Jeffries, Krishna Patel, Kylie Downey, Kyron Lewis, LaRon Lunnan, Lacey Bennett, Layla Mataduques, Landon Harley, Leonard Cochran, Liberty Hamilton, Lennox Proctor, London Johnson, Louise Johnson, Lindsay Harley, Lynette Jones, Madison Brown, Madison Cosden, Megan Hawkins, Michaela Dixon, Malachi Robinson, Malika Okindu Washington, Malik Harper, Marcus Jeffries, Miriam Sani, Mario Lara Rivera, Marlon Cabrera, Mary Jane Vlambargen, Matthew Grice, Mackenzie Sparwasser, Michael Mouche, Michaela Spruell, Michelle Jackson, Miranda McDowell, Monet Brown, Molly Dodson, Moez Elias, Nakira Bryant, Nywan Taylor, Nathia Taylor, Neil Nevada, Nicole Hernandez, Nika Kalal, Nyla Mansram, Nyrel Whitworth, Octavian Cox, Alawatosin Akinlua, Aluwe Alaba, Ambassador, Omalola Ayabami Oshubu, Paul Griffin, Quazir Kennings, Renaya Powell, Rashad Gant, Rashid Horton, Renee Nieba, Riley Roble, Robert Crowner, Robin McGinnis, Ronald Adams, Rosalind Fernandez, Ryan Holloman, Sabine Gurung, Sage Cole, Shahila Gouda, Samira Jackson, Samriti Rai, Sebastian Morales, Shane Feltz, Shania Morton, Shahela Coleman, Chantel Uzama, Shania Barnhart, Sydney Logan, Star Mejia, Stephanie Perez, Stephen Gurgis, Suman Danghana, Symphony Osa, Tiana Rawlings, Talor Elliott, Tanaya Tate, Tasia White, Tavon Sanders, Taylor Gallup, Taylor Huff, Taylor Morris, Tyrion Betts Palmer, Thomas Ogbor, Titus Cherry, Trikia Austin, Travis Craig, Travis Williams, Tyree Owens, Victoria Martinez, William Gerber, Winter Dunlap, Wara Igonsola, Yorita Noel Moreno, Zlaner Mon, Zoe Locklear, Zaira Tate. Okay. That concludes our reading of our names for our 2020 8th grade class. As I said before, I wish you nothing but the best. You've given me some great memories, and you're one of my top 5 8th grade classes of all time. I'm not going to give you the top spot, but I'll give you my top 5 8th grade classes of all time. So the last time you'll hear me say it, remember, keep walking while you're talking, and in the words of Mr. Huber, keep it moving, nothing to see here. Okay? And this is a reminder that Mr. Huber and Mr. Lindsay, and you may find a couple other 8th grade teachers may sneak in, will be in the bus loop this Thursday, June 18th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. to pass out promotion certificates or any award certificate that you may have earned, or you just want to stop by and say goodbye, wave and honk and so forth. Feel free to stop by. We'll be there from 9 a.m. to 2, passing them out and, wishing you the best.
Hello everybody. When I started using the term 2020 vision referring to our class, I told you to keep focused and maintain that 2020 vision. I had no idea what 2020 had in store for us. On March 11th, Mr. Lindsay, Ms. Salihi, Ms. Grasso and I met and we put together a terrific plan to end our 3 years together. We had a detailed plan of an awards assembly, a farewell, and a dance. We all had our responsibilities divided up and we were ready to go. The last thing I said before we left that meeting, I said, what do you guys think about the coronavirus thing? We talked a little bit about it, but didn't seem to think it would be a huge thing. When I got home that night, they announced that we will be closing school for 2 weeks. I danced in my living room. Seriously, I literally danced. I thought we would be off a few weeks, be right back at it. I had no idea. Along with that came the slowly sinking reality that I would never get to see you guys as a class again. No awards, no farewell, and no dance. More than any part of this whole thing, that was the one that hit me the most. I was crushed when they closed school for good. I'd never wanted to go back to school any more than I did then. While the times we had at Golden Ring were not all wonderful by any stretch, I would not trade any of them for the world. At the end of the school year, in the 2015-16 school year, my path to get to know all of you began. I had just finished up with a class of 8th graders who I had been with for 3 years. They are the current high school graduation class of 2020. I had gotten to know them for 3 years, and while I was sad that they were leaving to go to high school, I was looking forward to working with a new group of incoming 6th graders for the following fall. Then, the former principal, Dr. Rudolph, came to me and called me to his office, and he said that I'd be assigned to 8th grade again the following fall. I really didn't want to do that, since I was already looking forward to working with the incoming 6th graders. Besides, I had enough working with 8th graders. They can be a little challenging. Shortly, though, I realized that if I did another 8th grade year and then I went and picked up another 6th grade class, that this would line up perfectly, as I had always planned to retire in 2020. So it was then that I started targeting you guys as a class. This was when you were in the end of your 4th grade year. At the end of that year, we had the usual farewell assembly like we did for the previous class, so this was the second in a row that I had. What I noticed about that was as Mr. Lindsay read the names, I had no idea who a lot of students were. Sure, I knew a lot of them, but I didn't know a lot of them as well. I decided then that the next class I had, I would make it a mission to know all of them. So as you guys were walking in the cafeteria every day, and as you walked around the hallway through the 3 years, I called out your names. I was saying, keep it moving, move along. There's nothing to see here. I said all those things because in my mind, I was saying your name to myself so I wouldn't forget your names. This strategy really paid off as I put together the final slideshow that you probably just saw, because this is how I put it together. I got the pictures from the attendance files, and then they only had a code that the picture people used, and it was just a random computer code. It did not include your name. So I downloaded your names from the BCPS system, and I matched the names to the photos simply by looking at your picture. So after I knew I would be assigned to your class, as Dr. Rudolph told me, I started asking some of your elementary teachers and your counselors about you. What were they like? How were they? Are they nice kids? What's the deal? So throughout your 5th grade year, I often spoke with your elementary teachers and counselors checking up on you. I know it would be okay when the counselor at Shady Spring Elementary went on for a half hour about how good you guys were and how much she thought you were one of the best classes to ever come through Shady Spring and how proud she was of you. My first meeting with some of you as a class was in December of 2016. I went to Red House Run Elementary. I spoke to you about the upcoming year at Golden Ring. Halfway through the presentation, someone came on the intercom and said, "Okay, everyone, drop everything and move." Everybody got up, started running around the room dancing. As I stood there, I couldn't figure out what was going on. I had no idea. Eventually, order was restored. It was a thing they were doing for like a physical education movement type of thing. We continued. At the end, Stephen Gurgis started asking questions, and he wouldn't stop asking questions. He kept asking and asking. Eventually, we had to stop, cut him off, and just move on. If you remember that summer, we didn't have any summer programs because they were installing air conditioning and the building was under construction. In fact, you may have seen the school on the news because it caught on fire. So then it came, September 5th, 2017. I went downstairs to the cafeteria to meet you guys for the first time. The first student I met was Juliana. She was scared to death. But the person who was even more scared was her mother. I spoke to her briefly, and I assured her that everything was going to be all right. Eventually, the cafeteria filled with all 238 of you, and there were lots and lots of parents. The parents were here to be sure that their children will be okay, as the idea of going to this big middle school was very frightening to them. I'm sure many of them heard about all these terrible, poorly behaved students from that middle school, especially the students in the 7th and 8th grade, and that they were going to make sure that everything was okay before they left you in our care. I stood there, I introduced your teachers, Mr. Rattay, Mr. Evans, Miss Lindsay, Mrs. Lindsay, Miss Nunez, Miss Dasvan, Miss Forbes, Miss Holman, Miss Wilson, and Miss Saveston. I remember what I told them like it was yesterday. I told your parents that they are very fortunate to have such professional and caring teachers, and that we as a team have been doing this for a long time, and we know what we're doing. Everything was going to be all right, as it turned out. I was right. We had a great time in the 6th grade. We set up 3 groups that would be the cornerstone of our time here: the historians, AP council, and the tech crew. Before long, I kept receiving messages from students asking when our next meeting was. Students started taking responsibility, taking the initiative to get things done. Before you know it, we established the idea of having quarterly assemblies, giving peer awards, and voting on teachers of the quarter. I really don't know where those ideas came from. They just kind of happened. We had recess, no football allowed, and field day at the end of the year, as well documented by your historians. So the foundation was set. Over the next 2 years, we would continue to set the standard. We'd be a model for other classes to see how one group of students can work together individually to make the whole group better. My proudest moment came in the first quarter of this year when you were in 8th grade. we had an AP council meeting, and at the meeting I brought up whether we should continue with the peer awards or not. I thought maybe you had outgrown them. Everyone in the meeting was opposed to getting rid of them. They said that the peer awards was something that we did that was unique, and we should continue to do it. They felt that it was a nice thing to be able to send someone a certificate to tell them that they were a good friend, a good athlete, had a good sense of humor, or were a hard worker. I can only hope that when you go to high school, you tell your class sponsor, whoever he or she is, that you would like to continue to do that. Over the 3 years, it wasn't the assemblies, the videos, the peer awards, the data presentations, the teacher of the quarter awards, and the grade level incentives, the lunch shifts and recesses that I cherished the most. It wasn't even the 6th grade rap club. Oh yeah, you remember that. It was getting to know each one of you individually. When I had the farewell assembly, as I mentioned before, for the last 2 8th grade classes before I met you guys, I had noticed that a lot of, as the names were being called, as I mentioned before, I only need a few, there were a lot that I did not know. And I decided it was my mission to get to know every one of you. And I often think what would have happened if Dr. Rudolph would not have made me to 2 8th grades in a row. As I also think about the uniqueness of each individual in our class, the relationship I developed with each one of you would not have happened. For example, Golden Ring would have had a student named Adeni Falana, but there'd be no Richard Drain. And a lot of you would not have developed those relationships either. There would have been an Angela, but there'd be no Sheriff. There'd be an Awanga, but no Wanga Man. No Christopher, there'd be a Christopher Chew, but there'd be no Chew. There'd be a Chris Perkins, but no Perkinator. There'd be a DeMarco, no DFW, a Douglas, but no DB, and he probably would have never got in that locker. There'd be an Elizabeth, but no Cheaty. There would be an Irvin, but no Swervin' Irvin. There'd be a Shabumi, but there'd be no Ifeola Shabumi. She's the only one where her nickname is her real name, and her real name is her nickname. There'd be a Janiyah, no JWB. There'd be a Jimmy, but no Jimmy Vo. There'd be a Jonathan, but no JCS. There'd be a Capri, but no one known as the KGB. There'd be Liberty, but no Liberty. There'd be a Louise, but no Louise. There'd be a Michael, but no Mooch. There'd be an Iwan, but no Mini-Me. There'd be a Renaya, no RP. There'd be a Rashad, no RG3. A Riley, no R squared. There'd even be a Ronald, but there'd be no Ronster. There'd be a Ryan, but no Country. There'd be a Shalea, but no Shalele. There'd be a Stephen, but no Gurge. There'd be a Trakia, but there'd be no Muffin. And there would certainly be a Zlanner, but there'd be no Funny Man. And there'd be a Zoe, but there'd be no Zobear. And there would be a Tequila, or a Tequila, but there'd be no Teaspoon. I cannot begin to tell you how much you've meant to me over these last 3 years. This includes all of you. I will forever remember all the good times, and yes, the bad times too, as they're part of our experiences together. I'll remember a day when only a few dozen students showed up because there was a rumor that someone was going to come up and shoot up the school. I will remember the day that the rap club in the 6th grade took over the cafeteria. I'll also remember trying to explain that to the cafeteria people and to Miss Mall. If you've forgotten about that or you want to see it again, it's out on YouTube. Look around. You can find it. I will remember our practical joke on Mr. Robinson's 7th grade class when I had all the students get up and walk out of class. He didn't seem to appreciate the finer points of that joke. I'll remember all the historian meetings, the AP council meetings, tech crew meetings, all the incentives and how the students organized and ran them. I'll remember the talent show and 2020 productions. I'll remember the last day of the 6th grade when we played Kahoot for 3 straight days and we had the snack shack. I'll remember Huberbucks, and I'll remember the sheriff chasing people down the hallway to retrieve them from a student who didn't use his to purchase his lead pencil. I'll remember the Huberville water bottles in 6th grade and the 2020 bottles in the 7th grade. I had planned on getting something in the 8th grade, but, well. I'll remember the bulletin boards with all those pictures on them, student-run assemblies, videos every quarter, teacher of the quarter, and teacher of the year. I requested to transfer to Golden Ring in 2013, and it was the best move of my career. These last 3 years have been hands down the best in my career. As you know, I'm retiring. I consider myself extremely fortunate that I can leave my career with the last 3 years full of fondness and memories. I've seen a lot of education over my 30 years, but I've never enjoyed myself more than I have these last 3. Let me leave you with this. Early on, I came up with the whole concept of 2020 vision. Well, what does that really mean? 20/20 vision means you see things from 20 feet away that you're supposed to see from 20 feet away. In other words, your vision is perfect. If you had 20/30 vision, that would mean you would have 20 feet, you would see something at 20 feet when you should see it at 30 feet. 20/20 vision is about seeing reality. It's about seeing the truth for what it is. 20/20 vision means you can look out and be assured that what you see is real. Don't ever lose that 20/20 vision, because if you do, you may see things that are not really there, or you may fail to see things that really are there. For the rest of my life, every time I look at that 20/20 vision symbol, I will think of our time at Golden Ring Middle School. God bless all of you, and please keep in touch.
Okay, Golden Ring Middle School, this is the time that I get to say my goodbyes and wish you all the best. I'll start with the really good news first. 8th graders, today was probably your last day of school for the rest of this year until you walk through the doors of whatever high school you will attend next year. This school year, 2019-2020, has been one for the history books. 3 years ago, some of you walked through those doors as new 6th graders to Golden Ring Middle School. Others of you registered and came to our school just 9 months or a few months ago. Here's what I can tell you. Our time together over the years or over this year, we've met some awesome people. We found some new friends. We've participated in some great school events, whether it be sports, incentives, field trips, or assemblies. You worked together with others that you may not have ever worked with. You took turns, you worked through all your problems, and more than anything, we have practiced patience. I know that most of you are going on to high school and are very excited about what's to come. But hopefully, if we ever see each other again in the future, whether you're 13 or 33, we can smile at each other and remember that we were once at Golden Ring Middle School in the middle of a pandemic. I want to thank all of you, parents and students, for getting through these last few months of school in a great way. You have been patient, you have been kind, and more than anything, you have been supportive of what we do. Finally, I would like to thank all of our parents for your support over the years. It's not easy raising a middle schooler, and we could not have done what we do without you being exceptional parents. Thank you to all of our teachers for your hard work and dedication in supporting our middle school students. Thank you, Mr. Glover, for 3 years of laughter, tears, and caring. Thank you, Mr. Huber. As most of you know, Mr. Huber will be retiring at the end of the school year, and he will be greatly missed. And finally, thank you, students. Thanks some of you for the three best years of my career. I love being principal of Golden Ring Middle School, and it would not have been the same without you. And then some of you I have met recently or just this school year, and I would just want to thank you for always, always treating me with kindness and respect. Congratulations. Enjoy your summer. Take care. Enjoy your start of high school. And remember, we're always here if you need us. So long. Goodbye.